Hey YouTube, I want to show you a little bug out bag I've got here. I have many different configurations, but this is one I'm going to play with for now. This is, I guess you would say, a true bug out bag, not just a survival kit. It contains everything. It's relatively compact, especially if you pull these exterior components off. I guess I'll start with the bag. I'm going to hurry along here, and I'm not going to take time to show you the weight and everything because I've got a lot of stuff and it would take an hour to go through it if I went through it fast. So it weighs 19 pounds 5 ounces dry. That's without water. It's a Maxpedition Malaga. It's a good pack, you know, good stuff. And as I said, it weighs just under over 19¼ pounds. Let me go ahead and get into some of the gear here. I've got a little external pack here on the back. Let me start with this. Get this off of here. This is just an air mattress. It's an Aircore air mattress. Really good. I know you might be thinking, how weak to have an air mattress in a survival kit, but actually, when you start thinking of cold temperatures and trying to, reduce hypothermia, an air mattress is worth about 20 degrees and thereby saves calories and plays that game real well. So not to mention it's comfortable. It's also, let me get it over here. It's also flotation. You can always dump it if you don't like it, but you can't buy one if you need it when you're out there. Next here I've got a little GI med kit bag. I don't have medical stuff in it. What I've got in there is a little poncho. I say little, it's the same dimensions almost as a GI poncho. It's just lighter material, but it's not plastic, it's woven, so it's pretty strong. I've actually had to band-aid this one. I've got it in a good survival color. It's red, so I could use it for a signal flag. Underneath there, I'm not going to take it out, but I've got the beloved 3mm contractor big garbage bag folded up in there, which is the pretty much a staple in any survival kit. I've got these things, here so that I can get to them. Number one, so I can get to them quickly. Also, it allows more room in my pack. It would be very tight if I had those in there. It's pretty tight now. Excuse me, I've got a cold. But yeah, so that way I can get to them quickly. But also, if I get it wet or get water on the bag, because that's when I would pull them out. If I need to make a shelter real quick with this, or put it on as a poncho and cover my bag up with the plastic bag, then I could put them back in here and not contaminate, get my pack wet. It's the purpose of that. I'm going to roll over here real quickly. This is really a water container bag. It fits my water container cook kit, my 32-ounce Nalgene, and the cook kit is with it perfectly. But when this thing has water in it, that's a lot of weight. I don't like it hanging on the side and on my molly like that. So what I've gotten here is a Wenzel Current Hiker tent. I won't go into it too much because, like I said, we're short of time here. But you can look it up. Wenzel Current Hiker is a 2-man tent. The advantage of it, it's completely mosquito-proof, bug-proof. It's been Scotch guarded. I've had it out in the rain several times. It's very waterproofed. I've done a couple of little repairs on it, but it's held up quite well. It's even got a little vestibule outside the door where you can stick your head out when it's raining. It's just snake-proof, bug-proof, waterproof, bathtub floor. It is a sort of a pup tent sort of tent with an A-frame front and a straight pole in the back. 3 straight poles. And that's the advantage of that, over a dome tent, is you don't have to carry the poles with you, so I don't. I can just cut them out of the woods. It also comes with 8 stakes, 4 ground stakes, and 4 outer stakes. And I only carry the 4 ground stakes. In fact, I carry a little bit heavier duty than came with it. The 4 outer stakes, you can just, use sticks out of the woods. In fact, when you cut the 3 poles, you will generally have the 3 sticks for the tent. I will go in here a little bit to show you. There is the tent. In here I have the lid to my cook kit, I believe. Let me see. And I have some quick first aid stuff there, and have first aid stuff elsewhere in the kit. But that's just a bunch of Neosporin, basically, triple antibiotic ointment and different size band-aids to include large ones. And I'll set that over there. And that's the shelter, the primary shelter. Over here we have my knife and a big flint striker. I don't want to take it out. That's a Gobspark, same exact thing as a fire steel. It's been worn down a little bit, and so I've got it held in with some cotton cloth there, which makes for good tinder. Let me see if I can pull this, get this knife out of here. The blade is a Falk-Niven F1. Again, you can look it up and see. It's a good knife. It's extremely sharp. It's pretty hard to sharpen, but I can with my little Spyderco stone in there. As long as I've got a diamond stone, I can get a very functional edge back on it. I can't get it back to factory without an electric sharpener, without my work sharp. But I can get it very functionally sharp, and I have a backup knife in there for super sharpness anyway. We'll talk about that, all the knives. But yeah, it's a good knife. It's it's a good survival knife. The main thing about a Falk-Niven is they are indestructible. You can't break it. I could send you out in the woods for 2 hours. You could chip it, but you couldn't break it. You could ruin it, but you couldn't break it. I mean, if I need to pry open a trunk lid, this knife is not going to break. Whereas my K-bar Marine USMC would snap in two. If I need to pry open a door, baton it through a aluminum bolt or probably even a steel bolt, the knife is not going to break. The blade's not going to snap ever. Let me set this out of the way. I'll just put it back in here. Alright, I guess we're going to go inside the kit now. Throw this over there. One thing I have here is a carabiner, and that keeps all my zippers together in one place so they don't move around and they can't open up and come unzipped. So please allow me to remove that real quickly. And of course the carabiner has some use. I wouldn't put my life on it, but it's good for making a little tree pulley, to run my stuff up a tree to keep it from predators, things like that. Let's go in some of these smaller pouches and get them out of the way. What do we have back here? In here we have some more medication, some pain medication, some old Benadryl, some new Benadryl, some Pepsid AC, and other stomach medications. Because, well, the Benadryl, of course, if you get insect bit, in fact, if I got snake bit, I would take some Benadryl. Of course, the stomach irritations and diarrhea and things, you need to be ready to combat those because they always happen out there, it seems like, at some point. Indigestion, at least. I think that's got that for now. What do we have here? Some rations. That's a pound of rice, which should make 7 to 9 cups of rice. Sorry, I'm going pretty fast here. This is a little bag with about a dozen packs of coffee and tea and some hot sauce and stuff like that. And here I still have, there's a plastic bag so that you can maintain these. You don't have to eat the whole MRE at once. So I've got some plastic bags in this kit for that and for other reasons. This is 3 MRE entrees, and I've selected them to go with the rice. Like I've got, I think, 2 Mexican. Do I have 2? Yeah, 2 Mexican style chicken stew. Really good stuff. I find it better than the usual military MREs. I haven't tried this one yet. It's a different brand. This is beef stew. But anyway, I can take this rice, cook up about a half a cup, which would make about 16 servings, and I can put it with half of an MRE, and I've got me a pretty substantial meal. In other words, I would have about 6 or 7 meals there. Also in here is some snack bread. I had 2 of these. Good, I replaced one. I had used one last time I was out. MRE snack bread and a couple of MRE peanut butters. There you go. The snack bread, one thing I find useful with it is when I've got some rice left over, then I can take the snack bread and break it down, boil it up, and makes a gravy put on the rice. Makes a sort of a meal in and of itself. Good, we got that out of the way. Let's probably gonna have stuff fall out here. This is my main sharpener. It is a Spyderco medium fine. This is about the only thing I can get an edge on, that fork nibin. And also usually I carry a pretty Miracle Steel. Miracle Steels, you know, we call them, are really hard to sharpen, the new steels. This for instance is a Doug Ritter. I've always got an EDC on me, and I've always got a fire on me of some sort. Even if I'm sitting around the house watching TV, if I'm out in the yard mowing, I've always got a good blade and fire on me at all times. But yeah, something like this I believe is 390M. The only thing you're going to be able to put an edge on it with is a diamond stone. I've found the Spyderco medium stone to be the very best. I've got another little sharpener in this kit, believe it or not. Okay, moving right along. Oh. I don't usually have the kit in this position when I'm opening it. There's a little Bic lighter, 1500 lights, in addition to the one I always carry. There's a almost brand new, I've only used it once I think, Repel 30 deep insect repellent stick. Here we have I'm at the reading glass stage. Although I wear it for my computer, the ones I'm wearing right now, in fact, are 1.5. These are 3.0. They're very powerful. They could be used as a magnifying glass. It would be slow to make a fire, but you could do it. Mainly I have them because I've got a small book in there I'll show you in a minute. It's got really fine print. And also, you know, if you're doing first aid or inspecting a splinter, you know, or a wound, these are good for that. So got them a little more powerful than I would normally use. Ordinarily I would use a 2 for reading. This is a little multi-tool. I'm not big on multi-tools. Usually I like a little pair of needle nose. But I like these. It's a good little pair of pliers. I really like the blade on these. It really can be sharpened, and it's a good little, that's a saw blade, and it bites me every time I look at it. This here is yeah, it's a really good little blade. It's got a good little pair of scissors for grooming. I like the scissors very much. Your nose hairs, your ear hairs, your mustache, and trim your beard and stuff when you're out there. Your nails. And also, you know, scissors are good if you're cutting up plastic or that plastic bag or something. You can do fine work with them. So I like the scissors very much on it. I like the saw for bones and things. And I have never used it for that, but it's a good saw. And it's got a good Phillips screwdriver and a good regular screwdriver, and of course it's got the can opener on it and so forth. It's a good little multi-tool. What do we have here? Yeah, there's some paracord. Just in this pouch I've got that kind of stuff so I can get to it quickly. And I should have a snake bite kit. There it is. I always got that where I can reach it very quickly. There's a snake bite kit. Never had to use it. It's got a tourniquet in there, and I won't break it out. You can look those up. But I'm not paranoid about snakes, but if you get out there and get bit, you know, you need to do something quick. I take some Benadryl and suck the blood out and get a tourniquet as quick as I can. Not in that order. This is, you know, I'm sure you've seen these, a little compass, whistle. It's also got a little magnifying glass on it. If I can get it out. Well, anyway, you get the idea. Damn it. I don't know why I'm bothering, but hey. A little magnifying glass will start a fire. Again, could be used for first aid and what have you. It's got a whistle. I think a very underrated survival item is a whistle. And it's got a thermometer. Mainly the compass is really good. Like that thing is pointing to north right now, and it's correct, and you don't have to fight it to get it to point. I always carry 2 compasses, and I'll talk about that in a minute. There's the paracord. I think that's 15 feet of paracord. Something I could rig up something really quick with. So let's go into the main kit now. Should be over on this side. And some of the stuff I've got in here, you're going to think I'm nuts, but I think it's useful. This is a Ranger band. I've just got holding the crank down. If you don't know what a Ranger band is, it's a piece of bicycle inner tube. I've got several of them in this kit. They have so many uses, I'm not going to take time to go into it. But this is a hand crank flashlight. It's pretty portable. It's very bright. It'll run for an hour and a half on that level, which makes a great tent light, or you can even move around at night with it. The other triple light, it runs for about 30 to 40 minutes on that. Really strong. You can hunt with it and fish with it. At nighttime is when the store is open out there. So yeah, you don't run out of batteries. You can move at night. It's the way to go. I'll open this up real briefly. It's a little survival kit in and of itself. There's a carbide steel blade. There's 200 foot, I think, of monofil about. I got about 20-25 fish hooks, and I've just almost dropped one of the needles. Several sewing needles, some of them pretty big. As you can see down in there, I've got some gold snare wire, really good snare wire, I think 20 gauge, and some a nail or two. That's if I need to, well, different things you can make. You make a spear out of it, you can attach something. I can, mainly I've used the nail to skin a catfish. I can nail his head to a tree and take my needle nose and skin a catfish to eat. I've got another compass in here. It's a little bigger than a button compass. Again, a very good compass. It's pointing right to north as soon as I pick it up. The thing about having two compasses is you know, sometimes they get sticky and you don't trust them, and you can take another compass over there about 20 feet, and when they agree, then I feel a lot more trusting of what they're telling me. In addition to the snare wire, I've got 3, I think, little snares in here. They're actually pretty strong. They would hold a hog or a deer if they caught him. And that's one of the dangers of snares. You want to try to make sure you don't snare things you don't want to snare. Something too big, something that would be a waste or dangerous. But these snares are different than just snare wire. They make the loop and everything, but the difference is that little collar, when it closes around the animal's neck, then it seizes him and it doesn't ever loosen up. So he'll yank and it'll start choking him and cutting his air off, and it's not going to loosen then. Whereas with regular snare wire, if he just stops and relaxes a second, it'll come back open. But this always only gets tighter. And so he'll yank again, and then with a couple of minutes he'll be dead and won't be able to escape, as they often do with snares. I've never caught anything with these, except I did catch a possum. It was a bigger snare, just like those, same design. I did catch a possum one time, and I felt terrible because I didn't want to eat it. It's a good amount of duct tape there, weatherproof duct tape. Here I've got a brand new magnesium bar. I had to replace my old one. There's a comb, and inside there is a signal mirror. Again, an underrated thing. And of course, the mirror is good for personal hygiene too, you know, and to check for ticks and bugs and things like that. I'll just leave it in there for now. It's in there where it's safe. It's more personal hygiene stuff. Here, I'll get to this real quick. That's 2 slabs of sponge, about 5 inches by 7 inches. They're put together there. And what that basically is, it's in a plastic bag with a Ranger band around it, a piece of bicycle inner tube. And you can always cut this Ranger band in half or 3 times and make more bands out of it, especially with those little scissors. What this basically is toilet paper. And I don't want to go off into it too deeply, but I'm just telling you, if you get out there and thinking you're going to be picking up grass or moss up off the ground for toilet paper, you're going to run into some trouble. So if you've got a place where you can wash this, it washes very easily, dries out in about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, dries out quickly, then you can put it back in the bag anyway and put it in this little pouch. You know, you're better off doing that. If you get to where there is no water, then you're probably a lot safer than using the grass than you ordinarily would be. Like if you can get some good dry horse grass or something like that. But when you're out there where there's moisture, you got to watch out for arachnids like chiggers and etc. This is rubber tubing. You can look up all the uses for this. You know, I mean, I can take this or at least a piece of it, and drink water that is collected in rainwater that's collected in the crook of a tree, whereas otherwise I'd have a hard time getting to it. I've got a little water filter down in here that I'll dig out of the cook kit, and I can hang this down, hang off a pipeline or a ravine, and connect that to my little water filter and drink water right out of a ditch. Of course, you can make a pole sling, you know, to spear fish with or animals. You can make a slingshot out of it, but I've already got a slingshot. You can make use it for snares, for rigging lines. I make a fire starter. It never gets wet. And I'll shut up about the tubing. This is a little custom made, very light, probably weighs 2 ounces, 2 and 3 ounces maybe. John Webb, he's a slingshot maker in Australia, makes beautiful slingshots. This is a hunting slingshot. It's got double bands. I need to get this thing straightened out for a while. It's double banded. It's actually a 27 pound or 26 pound pull. If you look at the like the daisies or the whammos you can get in a Walmart or a Target with the yellow tubing, very much like the tubing I just showed you, they're like 13 pounds and they're lethal. So this thing, the reason I've got so much power, more than I need really, is ordinarily is I won't be bringing slingshot ammunition. I'll be using rocks. I'm quite accurate with slingshot ammunition. But with rocks, you know, it's like a knuckleball. It's kind of hit or miss. But, oh yeah, let me get this out of the way. This is my little shovel. I've got a plastic one that's bigger and lighter and more efficient, but I like this one. For one thing, I can cook on this one. Also in the shovel, I have a carbide arrowhead that I can use to manufacture. I've got a piece of file, so I can, you know, work bone or wood down, or even sharpen a big blade, or take a piece of steel and make it into a blade. One of the best things about this is a piece of file. If you ever want to make a good flint striking tab, use a file. It's got more carbon in it and it'll really spark. This, or more ferrous material in it rather. This is my little shovel. I can cook on this. It digs well, you know, to make a fire pit or for shelter part or a latrine or whatever. One of the things about this that's really good is, let me get a piece of paper here. I've got it sharpened at both ends. Now, of course, the obvious advantage is I can cut through a root if I'm digging or something, digging up roots or whatever. But also I can use it, let me see if I can show you just to cut in this paper. See, it'll just cut right into paper. That's how, so it's really quite sharp if I need to, rather than mess up my knife and chip a blade or take the edge off of it, if I'm skinning a squirrel or a raccoon or something, I want to cut through a breast, break a breast, or cut through a shoulder bone or something like that. If I want to scale a fish, you can dispatch an animal quickly with this. And this is not a pretty sight, but if you've got like a red-eared slider or a turtle you want to eat, and he ducks up into a shell, you can run this up in there and get under his neck and just behead him in quote unquote humane fashion. That's my little shovel. I'm trying to go through here quickly because there's so much stuff in this thing. I could go on and on about these. These are my gloves. I think these are some of the most underrated things you can carry in a kit. I mean, I put, you know, knife number 1, fire number 2, cordage and the ability to process water number 3. But gloves are probably next. You know, they're really, really important. First off, I can reach out and grab things like a nasty looking lizard or something, or if I have to, you know, try to take out a snake. Certainly when you're handling any edged weapons, you know, the first element of first aid is always prevention. If you're climbing, these make you so much better at it. They give you so much more strength. These I wouldn't use around fire because they have nylon backs, but that makes them so flexible. They're good for mosquitoes and warmth. I really do recommend always having a pair of gloves with you. Here I've got a mosquito head net. Of course, you know all the uses for that. You can make a, you know, fish net out of it and a bird trap, etc., etc. A bandana to keep the creepy crawlies out. It's another 20 something foot of paracord. Here, this might seem useless, but I like it. It's a little spyglass, little monocular. It's 7 by 18, so it's, you know, it's quite powerful. I can look out there a couple of 100 yards. It can help with navigation. I come from originally from the swamplands of southeast Texas, and near the Atchafalaya Basin, about 50 minutes away, Sabine River. And you can look out there, and if you can tell the difference between, say, a pine tree and a cypress tree or a willow, then you can tell if you're heading for dry ground or not, if you're out there in the swamps. You can also use it, of course, for rescue to see if something's, you know, on the horizon or nearby. But also I've used it, you can use it to watch game, to sit there and observe game from a distance, like small game, sit there and be quiet, and you can, you know, see what they're doing, their modus operandi, maybe even where they're burrowing or what they're eating. Of course, it also has a magnifying glass, 7 power there, so that's a great fire starter. Or, you know, for first aid if you need to look at a situation. Well, I thought I could get it back in there. Yeah. So handy little thing. Yeah, it's good for watching game, because if you wait, if you could just, when you walk in there, the game's going to be disappeared, and you're going to have to rely strictly on sight and spoor if you're going to do any good with it. We're getting towards the end, guys. Oh, well, there's my harmonica. You know, just, I'm not trying to be Les Stroud, but you know, again, it's just entertainment, psychological relaxation is part of the it's part of the game. You know, it's one of the elements. If you it might have rescue value. Maybe if you're sitting there playing it all the time, music carries and it's noticeable. Or you might be out there, if you hear banjo music or something, you might want to accompany it out there in the woods. Might save your butt, so to speak. Give them a little. Hey, sometimes you got to do a little politicking. Here's a big pair of cotton socks. These are very comfortable and good to keep you warm. Of course, I use it for stuffed sacks. I don't have much in them now. What have I got in here? I think my saw. We'll talk about that. Cotton socks, big thick ones. Of course, I can use them for a towel to dry off. These really absorb. Use them for socks, of course. Bandages, foraging sacks. One of the good things about them is you can make good pillows out of them. They'll stretch out quite a bit with moss, and you can wrap them around your neck. Even tie at both ends with paracord, and it makes like an airline pillow. You know, you can lay down and sleep comfortably, especially if you have an air mattress. This is a silky saw. Now I could baton with my fork nibbin, but this makes cutting through big wood a lot easier. And this is a really, really good little saw. I had a Coleman, but it was just too big and too lanky and too weak. This is a very strong. That's a medium. I kind of wish I'd gotten the fine, then I could cut through. I mean, the thing cuts through hard wood, but a fine would do better. 16-ounce cup, 24-ounce cup. That's my cook kit. As I said, with the lid, it fits either one of them. You know, it works. I've got brown rice, so it doesn't matter. But when you're cooking white rice, the lid really helps. 32-ounce Nalgene water bottle. I've also got this in plastic, which will be lighter. But this, I just like it that way. It's indestructible. It allows me to boil my water while I'm cooking and drinking with the other 2 cups. Right now I've got it full of stuff. There's a piece of Ranger band to get a close-up look at it. As I said, if you're not familiar with Ranger bands, you need to learn it. You can make an instant bungee cord with a piece of paracord and one of these. And like I say, these will make several pieces of Ranger band. You can cut them lengthways. Oh, I think there's 50 foot of 88-pound nylon test line. Here we have a pencil. I recommend it over a pen. You know, first off, I can make many pencils out of this. It's always going to work. I can always take my knife out and sharpen it. I can use it, the shavings for kindling, for that matter. The graphite can come in handy sometimes if you have like your knife mechanism starts getting sticky or needs maintenance, or any other mechanical things. Let me also get in here while I'm thinking of the pencil. There's a bar of soap to wash out wounds or just for personal hygiene. 250 pound, I think 40 yards of 250 pound test nylon. Don't really have to have this, but it saves having to cut a willow brush and fabricate it every day, you know. So there's a toothbrush. As long as you got charcoal out there, you got some of the best toothpaste in the world. I've never used this one. It's a replacement. Brand new. There's a little notepad for sit around, make notes, leave messages of your location, your situation, fire. Goes in conjunction with the pistol, of course. And here we have, that's why I carry the big glasses, the big 3-power reading glasses. We have the Collins Pocket Gym Survival Guide. It's the complete SAS Survival Guide. You know, pictures and all. It's certainly a wonderful resource, especially if you're out there trying to figure celestial navigation, signaling, Morse code. It's just, you know, plants. It's a really, really good survival guide. And it's also, again, we get back to psychology. It's a lot of entertainment. Not only are you reading, but you're reading something that's going to benefit you. Let's get some of this stuff out. There's a 4 heavy duty, heavier than came with the tent anyway. Tent stakes held up with a Ranger band. I can take these and that poncho you see back there and make a quick shelter in a hurry. Get some more paracord out of here. This is $7.50. The other stuff I showed you was $3.50. There's some $7.50 paracord. There's my little water filter, and as I said, I can put that tubing on the end of it. Has replaceable filters. I probably need to replace that, but it hadn't been much through it. Needs, I think it handles 50 gallons or 150 gallons of water. I like it better than a life straw. You take it off here and you can bite on it. The general mechanism means it's not going to clog up as quickly. If it does, you can unclog it because you can get to it. And as I said, you can't attach a tube to a life straw and make it work. But I could take this and that tubing and hang off of, as I said, a pipeline or a ravine. Drink water. I've done it. Just for the hell of it, but I did it. This is my backup knife, even though I always carry an EDC, just in case I didn't have it with me. This is an Opinel number 13. Now this knife you can get sharp with any kind of stone, and you can get the factory edge back on this one to where it just hair pops. See if you can hear it cutting. Hear that? You don't hardly even have to touch it. It just cuts the hair off. It is so very, very sharp. This is, you know, what I would use. I wouldn't really abuse any of my knives, especially as I have that shovel for the, if I want to pry open a clam shell or, you know, a mussel shell or something, or butcher a turtle, you know, then I have my shovel for those kind of heavy jobs. But this is to keep really fine and sharp for, I've got razor blades for first aid, but, you know, in case I want to skin an animal or something, you need a very sharp knife to do that cleanly. It's a really good knife, good locking system. I think that's the biggest Opinel made. Opinel 13. What else? There's a little GI sharpener. I probably don't need that, although it does work really well with that Opinel. It really puts a super fine edge on it in about 30 seconds to a minute. There's another Bic lighter, 2000 lights. I think I got another one in there. Yeah, there's my spoon. That's all I carry. Got a spoon, you got a knife. I don't see any need for a fork out there. I surely would never have a spork. This, and I won't take it out. There's another Bic mini lighter, another 1500 lights. So, by the way, this knife also has a flint striker on it. It had something else here. I can't remember what. Whatever it was, maybe it was a toothpick. Something I didn't think I'd need, so I just got rid of it. Irritated me. This is a flounder gig, you can put a stick down in there and make it's 3-prong. It's so sharp I don't want to take it out. I have ground down the barbs on it to where there's just a slight hint of a barb. That way it doesn't take the guts out of a frog. It's just gross. Or a fish, you know. But I can still stick them and hold them. I've also made it much sharper. It's just really, really sharp. Much better than trying to poke a stick at something if you want to stick it, or if you want to pin a snake down, or even a snapping turtle. You know, you can put a stick out there and he'll bite it, and stick him with this and hold him and take your knife and get rid of him easily. Well, maybe a big snapping turtle. You might not be able to hold his head in any case, but I've never done it. But anyway, it's great for sticking and gigging things. Great for spear fishing, especially in conjunction with the hand crank flashlight. And there's another 200 foot of monofilament line I need to replace. Nalgene 32-ounce water bottle. And we're about at the end. At the bottom here, this is going to seem crazy, but I've got a sleeping bag. It's inside of here. This is a change of clothes that I bring along with the socks. This is a mesh, not mesh, but a nylon shirt, which dries very quickly. A pair of nylon shorts, which I can use for extra underwear, or just for swimming trunks, or just to wear. Thing about these is, if I have to make a water crossing or something with my air mattress or without it, and I can put these on, put my clothes in the bag, put the bag in the plastic bag, and I can cross, and this stuff will dry out very quickly. Or if I'm washing my clothes or drying them out from a rain or something, then I can put this on while that happens and have something to wear. And finally, we have my sleeping bag, which is a Kawa 300. It's survival rated down to 16 degrees. Of course, when you've got a tent and an air mattress, survival gets down in sub-zero, I think. Wouldn't be very comfortable, but you'd be surviving. You'd certainly be comfortable at 16 degrees with this and the tent and the air mattress. And if necessary, you could build a debris hut over that tent. But yeah, I know this, like I say, seems a little decadent, but this is not just a survival kit. This is a small bug out bag. And I think we're about done. I may be missing something else in here. And that's it. Sorry I took so long. It's over a half an hour, but there's a lot of stuff in there. Thank you.